Hello everyone, welcome to another video with Yoseka. Today I'm going to be showing you how to prep your new dip pen. So if you are new to dip pens or you just got a dip pen and you're like, why is this not working? It's probably because you have to prep your dip pen before you use it. First of all, there are different types of dip pen nibs. The ones I'm going to be talking about today are regular steel nibs that you put into a dip pen holder. There are also stainless steel nibs, and those you don't have to prep. It usually will say on the packaging if you're working with a stainless steel nib versus like a glass nib. Those also exist. Those you don't have to prep. Today we're just talking about steel nibs, and usually you'll be able to tell if you have a steel nib because it will not start writing very well once you open it out of the box and put it into your nib holder. So this is a dip pen. So you can see this nib is very shiny. It actually has a blue coating. This one specifically is the Browse Blue Pumpkin Steno nib, and steel nibs like this actually have a protective oily coating to prevent it from rusting because this is just regular steel. So out of the factory they coat them with, you can kind of see a little bit of a slick, like you can kind of see if you look really closely, a little bit of a sheen. And the ink you're using with these kinds of nibs are water-based usually, so if you do not remove this oil coating, the ink is going to just slide right off. And I'll give a little demonstration. I've got my Kakimori Hotari ink here. I like using this one because the angle is perfect for dipping. But if I dip it in, it might look normal, like yes, there's ink on this nib. When I try and write on the paper, nothing's coming off because the ink is not sitting on here properly, and even when I try, it just slides right off. So that you might just be getting dots of ink on your paper, which is not what we want. We want to be able to write with these dip pens or draw or use them however you want. So I'm going to show you how to change that. To remove this oily coating, sometimes it's also waxy, you need something that will break this oil. So something would be dish soap is a great one. That's what I usually opt for. But other things that work will be alcohol. Acetone is a little harsh, but it will work. Windex also works. Just anything that will break down grease, essentially. So I'm going to go wash this with dish soap, and I will be right back to show you how much better it writes afterwards. So I'm in the middle of washing this nib, and I just want to say, I have soap on my hands. The best thing that you want to do while you're washing a nib like this is wash your hands first, because your hands have oil on them, and you don't want that oil redepositing onto the nib, because then you're just defeating the whole purpose of prepping this nib and removing the oily coating. And I am impatient, so I just use my hands and I scrub the oil off. But if you are fine, not in any rush, you can actually just mix some dish soap, put the nib in that solution, leave it in there for 5-10 minutes, pull it out, dry it off, and it should be good. But I'm just giving my nib a little scrub here. I'm gonna go rinse it off. This is what it looks like right now. I'm just getting it really sudsy to remove that grease on there. You do have to kind of get it really soapy so that it breaks the grease down, and then rinse it off. So I'm gonna go rinse it off now. So once you've washed your nib, you do not want to touch the tip of it anymore, because once that soap is gone, any oil that you do have on your hands will go back onto the nib and interfere with the ink gripping onto the nib. So I'm just holding it by the end here, by this end here that gets inserted into your dip pen holder, so that I'm not affecting the nib. So again, I'm not touching the tip of the nib when I'm inserting it into the holder, and just want to grab this edge here and push it in as steadily as you can without hitting the tip over here. Alright, that seems to be as far in as it will go. Okay, so here we go, moment of truth. I'm going to dip the nib again. How much ink stays on here? You can wipe off a little bit off of the tip, some of the excess. And now you'll be able to write with your dip pen nib, and it's much more smooth. You'll be able to see it holds more ink. If it doesn't seem to be holding more ink, or the ink isn't gripping onto it, you might not have used enough soap or rubbing alcohol, whatever you chose to use. So just go back and do the process again, and that second time it should work better. You can kind of just do it as needed, since the oil is a little bit hard to see with the naked eye, but you'll definitely be able to tell in the writing experience. Like, look at that. I wasn't able to write before, but now, wow, very good. This will be very fun for some calligraphy. So maintenance with a dip pen, once you're done using it, you don't want to keep water on this nib. Since it is steel, it will rust over time, and if you want to increase the longevity of this nib, you should always wipe it dry when you're done. You can rinse it with water and then get another cloth and wipe it off so that you don't have any water leaving it prone to rusting. And I actually like to take my dip pens out and store them out of the nib, because sometimes water can collect when you rinse off in that part where the dip pen nib connects with the holder. So I like to store these separately just so I can get the most use out of my steel dip pen nibs. So I hope that helps. If you have any other questions about how to start out your dip pen nib journey, please leave them in the comments below. I hope this is helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and good luck with your dip pens. Bye!